Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. This is it. 2020 is over. This is the last day. This is the last build. We're ending on a strong note here. This build is amazing. I love it. The build's called Drain. You've seen the videos. You liked it. You requested the build video, and here it is. I'm happy to oblige. And so what this build does is it's basically kind of like an old school DK, kind of tanky, sustainy, a lot of pressure, a lot of healing, super fun to play, super nice build. That's all I have to say for the intro. Let's get right into it. So let's look at the Magicka here. Almost a 34k Magicka. A little over 30k health. That's probably because we do have the Emperorship Alliance bonus here. Usually that's like pretty much exactly at 30k, so a good chunk of health. And then of course the stamina, 21k. That's a lot. That's a lot of stamina for a Magicka build. Okay, so the resistances over here, as you can see, 1400, 1700, 1300, unbuffed, really nice recoveries. If we just take a potion here real quick, you can see Magicka almost goes up to 2k, 2.2k health recovery, and almost 1.9k stamina recovery. So insane regens across the board. The health recovery, of course, goes up due to one of the sets we're running. It goes up to, I think, 3.7k fully buffed. So that's a nice chunk of health recovery on top of the already pretty strong heals that we have and the passive healing that's going on this build. So that's more than you need. I really love playing these high stat, high regen builds because they just allow you to do things that you normally couldn't do, like block and dodge and break free and bash and use stamina skills on Magicka builds, and it's just I love it. It gives you some freedom. I like freedom. The spell damage goes up to like fully buffed 3.5k, and I think that's enough, especially considering we almost have a 34k Magicka. So that's actually a good amount of damage on a build that's supposed to be a little more tanky and sustainy. But yeah, you maintain a good chunk of damage here. Let's look at the resistances. The spell resistance. Also, we have a little more resistances due to the bonuses here in the campaign, but we're usually sitting at almost 30k spell resistance, and 23.5k physical resistance is where we're usually sitting at. So as you can see, pretty tanky without, you know, being like an insane tank, but pretty tanky here. Crit resistance 1.8k, not too shabby. The spell penetration naturally low for a heavy armor build, but not too low. Like 7.5k is definitely not too shabby for a heavy armor build that doesn't really focus on penetration. So you still have a good amount here. That should definitely be enough, in my opinion. Looking at the Mundus, we're running the Steed here because, of course, we get health recovery, which is important on the build, but it also gives us 10% extra movement speed, which I think really feels good on a heavy armor build, because heavy armor builds are kind of slow. You know, they don't feel very agile on the battlefield. So having the 10% extra speed definitely helps out a lot. We are a vampire, and you need to be a vampire on this build. So stage 1 is enough. You could technically go up to like stage 3. I wouldn't do 4. 4 doesn't really do much for you. Technically, you could go up to stage 3, but I really don't recommend it because it's going to make your skills more expensive, and especially on a heavy armor DK, you already have very expensive skills. DK skills are very expensive in general. Heavy armor doesn't offer any cost reduction bonuses, and then getting the extra cost from the vampire on top could be a little much. So I think stage 1 is fine. If you feel adventurous, feel free to increase your vamp stage, but for my liking, stage 1 is more than enough. And then we're using the Bewitched Sugar Skulls as our food buff, because I feel like the tri-stat with the health recovery is probably the best thing on this build. If you feel like you need something else, you can swap this out, because you have a lot of freedom on this build, actually, since you have a lot of stats already, and you also have a lot of regens. So whatever you want to do, like be it more health, more magicka, more stamina, or any of the regens that you want to focus on, you can do that. But I think the bewitched sugar skulls are the best food, for me at least. All right, time to look at the sets. We're running, of course, Eternal Vigor. Such a great set. You heard me talk about this a lot. I did a lot of builds with this set. It's just, in my opinion, one of the best sets in the game right now. It's just the max health, the recoveries. It's such a complete package. If you want to play a 1vx build, this really gives you the sustain and the bulkiness that you're looking for. Of course, it doesn't offer anything in damage, but I don't think it's important. You know, you can build the damage otherwise, and you don't have to really bring it in with the sets. So I think Eternal Vigor is great. It's amazing. It's such a good base set that you can just put on and then start building from there for basically any kind of playstyle. So yeah, Eternal Vigor on the body. Then we have Amber Plasm. Amber Plasm, kind of like the same deal. A lot of regens across the board. All regens, big amounts, even a little bit of damage in this set, and in combination with the Eternal Vigor, this really does the trick. It's so much sustain. I love this. Combining these two sets just unlocks a whole new kind of gameplay for you, a new play style, a new feeling, and yeah, I just love doing it. And especially on a DK, I think this pairs really well. So great set. Like I said, Amber Plasm also comes with a little bit of damage, gives you the max magicka, gives you the spell damage, gives you the spell critical, so nothing to complain about here. The next one that we're running is the Ring of the Pale Order. This is one of my favorite mythics. It's such a great ring. All it does is it turns 21% of the damage that you do to enemies into heals. So I always wanted to do this on the DK because I thought DK naturally just has a lot of AoE dots that they can put on people, and the more dots you can put on people, the more healing you can get out of this. So all the teeny tiny little fire dots that I put on people, they will all convert into healing for me, and that's amazing. I love this. So this makes you very tanky. You just got to make sure you always put dots on people, keep them dotted up, and you get a lot of healing. And of course, in combination with the active heals that you have and the health recovery that you have, this build is a monster. It really is. It's so strong. It's so amazing. I love it. Great mythic item. And then we have the one slot. It's just a Valkynscoria helmet just to get the extra spell penetration. Like I said, you know, heavy armor builds, they don't really have a lot of spell penetration. So the way this setup works out, it just leaves room for one piece. You can go for something else if you want, whatever it is, more health, more magicka, some regen, maybe resistances. Feel free to put on whatever you want. I think the extra 1.4k spell penetration are definitely like the best choice here, because you gotta maintain a balance here. So we already have a lot of health, we already have a lot of regens, we have a good amount of damage. What do we not have? We don't have a whole lot of penetration. So I think this is just the best choice here. It's just logical to use that. So yeah, Valkynscoria. As always, infused on the big pieces with Tri-Stat enchants, Impan on the smaller ones. I have a mix of magicka and stamina enchants on them. Feel free to mix and match to get the stats that you're looking for. But I think this is pretty much the best way to apply these enchants. On the rings, the Amber Plasm rings are arcane with spell damage, and the Pale Order ring is Bloodthirsty with spell damage. Bloodthirsty because it already comes in Bloodthirsty, and it's not a bad choice. If you wanna change the trait on your ring, feel free. I think Arcane would be the best, but as always, you know, whatever you think you're missing, you can put it on here. But I think Bloodthirsty, definitely not a bad choice. We got the sword and board on the front bar, infused shield, because shield is basically just another armor piece infused with the tri-stat enchant. The mace, it doesn't matter what you're running, sword, mace, axe, it doesn't matter for sword and board. Sharpened with the shock damage enchant. Shock damage, of course, has a chance of proccing the minor vulnerability, 5% extra damage. I can't say no to that. And sharpened, of course, just increases the penetration that you have. So, there it is. And then, of course, the resto staff on the back bar, infused with a weapon damage enchant. Just for a little poke on the back bar, it gives you 450 extra spell damage. The best way to just increase your damage. So why not, right? So yeah, that's all the sets that we have. Let's take a look at the skills. So on the front bar, we got Engulfing Flames. This is an AoE flame damage ability that hits everyone in front of you in a cone in front of you, deals a good amount of upfront damage, and then puts a dot on people for 14 seconds, which is really nice. We need that. And it also kind of gives you 10% extra damage against the burning enemies, people that are affected by it. So, just really nice skill for just, setting everybody ablaze, getting the dots going, getting the hots going, and then also doing 10% extra damage to them. Really, really nice. The next one is Burning Embers. A little bit of upfront damage, then adds a nice dot to the target. And if you use it again or it runs out, it gives you a big chunky heal. 90% of the damage inflicted is going to be converted into a heal. You can spam this. Technically, it actually works well if you spam it on a target. You will just always get the hit. Every time you reapply it, it will heal you. And the heal is actually pretty nice. So that's a good way of just healing offensively. But here's the thing. Please keep in mind, when you engage in combat, you need to put Burning Embers on all the targets that you can reach. Make sure that every time someone gets near you, you put a Burning Embers on. The reason is simple. Like I said, when this runs out, or if you reapply it, you get a heal out of it. So the more people have the Burning Embers on them, the more potential heals you can get from them, either after 14 seconds when it runs out, or when you just reapply it. So this just increases your potential in healing and staying in combat. And to be honest, Burning Embers saved my ass many times. I had situations where I was pretty much dead. I was at 1% health, and I'm basically just a light attack away from dying. I got no resources anymore because I was fighting a lot of people, and I just can't heal. I don't have the magicka to heal. And then some Burning Embers runs out on one of the targets that I put it on, and all of a sudden my health shoots back up, and I'm back in the fight, right? So make sure you put it on every target. It really saves lives. The next one is Molten Whip. Molten Whip deals a good amount of upfront damage. If the enemy is immobile or stunned, you set them off balance. We have two options of doing that. And then, of course, if you use 3 Ardent Flame abilities, then your Molten Whip gets supercharged and it deals basically double the damage. So, let's say you put a Burning Embers on, you put an Engulfing Flames on, you put another Burning Embers on. That's 3 Ardent Flame skills. Then your Molten Whip is gonna get the extra damage, the supercharged damage. And of course your spell damage also goes up by 200 something, 225 I think it is, after using the 3 abilities. And then you just whip somebody for a lot of damage. Really nice for combos, when you dot someone up, it has the person has all the effects on him. Then you leap him. The person takes a lot of damage from your leap, gets stunned, and then you just follow up with a fully buffed whip. And yeah, that's how you do a lot of damage on a DK, basically. The next one is Invasion. I get a lot of shit for running stamina skills on magicka builds, but honestly, these are comments like that only come from people that don't understand the game. They don't know what they're talking about, and they just try to justify their lack of knowledge in just talking shit about your build decisions. Why wouldn't I use Invasion? Here's the question for you, dumbass. Why wouldn't I? Show me a DK skill that is a gap closer and a dedicated stun in one. We don't have that, you know? So I can run a gap closer and a stun in one skill slot. Yeah, it costs stamina, but you know, this build is capable of running a stamina skill and, you know, using it effectively without running out of stamina. That's why we have a lot of stamina. That's why we have a lot of stamina recovery, because it opens up a possibility that, you know, other people don't even consider. And I think that gives you the advantage in a fight and just in general. You know, you're just smarter than other people. Be smart. Stay in school, kids. Do your homework. Listen to your parents. Don't do drugs and use invasion on your DK. That's the way. That's the way. Okay? So yeah, it's a great skill. The damage, of course, is not very high because, you know, we're a Magicka build, but it has a long stun. It stuns for 4 seconds. When you're up close, which is really nice, you can hit people up close with the invasion. They never see it coming. It's so fast, it's so snappy. You just knock them on their ass, and you know, that's it. But if you hit someone from far away, this goes up to like 6 seconds. In case you don't know how long 6 seconds is, it's really, really long. Especially if someone's like, you know, if you can manage to run someone out of stamina, which we can do on this build pretty easily, stunning them for 6 seconds and they can't break free, it's really long. It's a really long time. And that gives you the, you know, the opportunity to just, you know, either leave the guy there, focus someone else, or finish him off while he just can't get up. Really nice. The next one is Burning Talons. This is, of course, a little bit to fuck with people because it is a root. It's a pretty nasty root. And in conjunction with Invasion, this really helps you run people out of stamina, because you can root people and they will dodge out of it, spending some stamina, and then you can root them again and they're going to dodge out of it, spending some stamina, and then you just hit them with an invasion and they have to break free, spending some stamina, and then you just put another Burning Talons on them and they have to roll back out. And it's, you know, you can really drain people's stamina. And then, of course, you know, when they're empty and you hit them with a big invasion and they just sit there for 6 seconds and can't do anything, feels good. Feels really good. But yeah, a little bit of upfront damage adds a little nice fire dot over 4 seconds. Other people can, of course, use the Ignite synergy, which actually it hits pretty hard, I gotta say. It's not bad. So if you have another friendly DK, you can basically like exchange Ignite synergies, which is really nice. You know, you both put the talons on, and then everybody activates the synergy of the other guy. It's a nice amount of damage. Not gonna lie. And of course, like I said, you can just keep someone in the talons and whip them, and that will set them off balance. So like it says, immobile or stunned, you can do both. You can make him immobile by just being rooted by the talons, or you can stun him with invasion. And then when you whip him, you set him off balance. You know, which it's not super important, but you know, you can utilize this well. Of course, if someone is off balance, you can hit him with a heavy attack and then stun him that way. People don't see that coming. Or, you know, if you want, you can also like spec into CP just to get the extra off balance damage. That's also an option. But yeah, keep that in mind. The ultimate, of course, is Ferocious Leap, because you're a Mac DK, and why wouldn't you use Ferocious Leap? It's cheap, it hits hard, it stuns everybody, and it gives you a big shield. So what more do you want? Great ultimate. Let's look at the back bar. The back bar is Coagulating Blood. This is our main burst heal if you need it, but I would recommend not using this as your main heal because it's really expensive, and in most situations you won't need it. Make sure to only use this when the pressure is on and you really need the big boy heals. Then, you know, only then use Coagulating Blood, because we have other methods of healing, of course, you know, Pale Order Ring, Burning Embers, and of course, you know, we got to heal here. So make sure to use them first and only use Coagulating Blood when you really take a lot of heat and you really need the big boy heals. The next one is Volatile Armor. This is just our armor buff. It also gives you a little bit of a, you know, a fire dot spray in a pretty big radius, actually. So The thing that I usually do is I either wait with casting this ability until I'm like right next to my target or like inside an enemy group, and then I cast this buff just to put the flame dot on everybody, because that just helps. That's one more flame dot that will deal damage and heal you. Or if you don't feel too safe doing that, you can of course just cast it twice. Just put it on before you engage, and then when you're in a group of people, you just cast it again, just to put the flame dot on everybody. And then of course, it also it has a little bit of a damage return. So if someone hits you, they take a little bit of damage back, which helps, because that will also heal you. The damage return is also gonna turn into a pale order heal, but it also helps with just damaging while you're basically being defensive. So if someone has a lot of dots on them, they're taking a lot of damage, and they decide to just attack you, they're going to be punished for it. So great skill. The next one is rapid regeneration. This is, I would say, your actual main heal. You should use that to heal yourself. It's a pretty beefy heal, not gonna lie, especially with the DK passives. You can get a lot of healing out of this. So yeah, keep that in mind. Use that. It's way cheaper, and it goes over 5 seconds. So when you're taking moderate damage, I think this is the way to go. Like I said, only use the coagulating blood if you really, really need to, because of the the cost that it has. But yeah, that's rapid regen for you. The next one is Blood Mist. So I wasn't sure if I should run Blood Mist or Elusive Mist. I'll leave it up to you. I tried Blood Mist. It has some advantages. It has some disadvantages. The disadvantage, of course, is you're very slow. Being in Blood Mist is just it doesn't feel good because you're so slow, and you can't really use it well to get away from people, which is different when you're using Elusive Mist, because it's like basically like you're sprinting in mist form. So the other morph is definitely better to get away from people, but the Blood Mist, the way I use it is basically, we have a lot of health recovery. Blood Mist is going to cut the incoming damage by 75%, and when we hit people with the magic damage dot that is attached to the skill, it turns into healed, so we get healed through that. And that, in combination with the health regen, is pretty nice. So you can technically just go in mist form and heal back up in mist form, be very tanky, potentially just fill up your health bar, and then return to being offensive. So yeah, feel free to use either morph, but I would say definitely use mist form in some way, because I feel like this really helps, reducing a lot of damage, just being more tanky. And we have a lot of stamina recovery, so should you manage to run out of stamina, which is not that easy on a build like this, but should you manage to run out of stamina, going into mist form is a good choice, because it gives you an uninterrupted stamina regen window. So you can just sit in Blood Mist for a couple seconds, let your stamina, your 2k stamina regen, just do the work and just fill up your stamina bar a little bit, and then you're good to go. You can block again, you can dodge again, you can break free again, you can use your invasion again. So use the Blood Mist for just healing back up, being more tanky, or giving you just a little window to have your stamina recover if you need it. The next one, Molten Armaments, basically just your spell damage buff, and it also buffs the heavy attacks by 50%, but we're not really using heavy attacks for damage. We're using heavy attacks for sustain though, so a resto heavy attack is definitely something you should do. So this is not super important. You could technically use the other morph if you want, or if you want, you could also use entropy. What's it called? It's not called entropy anymore. Oh yeah, degeneration is the one now. So you could use degeneration. It's not a bad way, because it also adds a little magic damage dot to your target, which turns into heals too and extra damage. So that's a way of doing things if you feel like you don't want to use the molten armaments. I like the molten armaments because, you know, it's an expensive skill, but you only have to cast it like once every 36 seconds. So yeah, once it's up, it's kind of like out of the way for like half a minute, and I kind of like the idea of that. But yeah, feel free to use something else if you feel like it. And of course, the ultimate on the back bar, Swarming Scion. Um, Not sure what I think about the Vampire ultimate. I want to like it. Not sure if I really like it though, because here's the thing: the big downside to like transforming into the vampire is, yeah, you become stronger, yeah, you have a lot of healing, but people run away from you. So just by casting this, you kind of waste it. You kind of waste it because people are going to play super defensively. A lot of people are just going to flat out run away from you and just come back after this is gone. So it always feels like you're kind of wasting your ultimate every time you cast it. It is a really expensive ultimate. And then, you know, no one wants to play with you anymore once you activate it. So it kind of feels like a little weird, but I want to use it and I want to like it. So, you know, I have it on the back bar. It can definitely help. One thing that it does really well is just healing you back up. It gives you a bigger health pool, and it's an instant heal. So yeah, that is really nice. So if things get rough, this can really help you survive longer just because of the instant heal, the bigger health pool, and the fact that people most likely stop attacking you. So if it's not really a good offensive ultimate, it definitely is a good defensive ultimate that helps you create a little bit of like a you know, room to breathe and recover. So keep that in mind when you're using it. It might not be the best offensive one, but it's definitely not a bad defensive one. You can replace it with other things. I would probably recommend Ice Comet or Shooting Star. Probably Shooting Star because I like the idea of having the ultimate return. But feel free to put on whatever you like. If you don't like the Vampire Ultimate, I could totally understand it. You know, it's still like it's hard for me to justify having it on. I just feel like I need to force myself to use it because that's the only way to become better. You got to force yourself to do certain things. So yeah, that is the skills. All right, let's look at the champion point. In the red tree, we got 51 Ironclad, 26 Spell Shield, 28 Resistant, 23 in Thick-Skinned, 43 in Hardy and Elemental Defender, and 56 in Quick Recovery. In the green tree, 37 Warlord, 19 Sprinter, 22 in Mooncav, 56 in Arcanist, 43 in Healthy, 56 in Tumbling, and 37 in Shadow Ward. And in the blue tree, we got 51 Elfborn, 56 Elemental Expert, 56 Spell Erosion, 56 in Master at Arms, and another 51 in Thaumaturge. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the build. I hope you liked it. This is the last build of 2020. We had a lot of good builds. I hope you really enjoyed the builds that I put up. I hope you played them. I hope they did something for you, you know, and next year we're going to come back with a lot more builds, I guess. And I hope that 2021 is actually going to be a better year just all around, because this one kind of sucked. So yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate the support. If you feel like my builds are doing something for you, or you just like the other videos that I'm uploading, yeah, show me some love. Other than that, all I have to say is Happy New Year. I hope it's going to be a better one. See you in the new year, guys. More videos, more cool stuff. Stay safe out there. See you next time.